Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Brewing e-commerce. And today I have someone from me all the way from the States. And I've looked at his profile, I looked at his stuff, I looked at what he does. Sound really exciting. And of course, the whole idea about this podcast is to learn from the community and gain a lot from what Nicholas has learned over the past years. So, thank you so much, Nicholas, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm super excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this all week.
And the first thing to start with, Niklas, it'll be great if you can kind of introduce yourself to everybody listening and also tell us a little bit about your journey that you've been in e-commerce space for about, 7 to 8 years now and, agency life and trying to do a lot of stuff. So how did you even, come to this side of the world?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Nicholas. I started an agency called 253 Media back in 2017. Previous to that, though, I'd actually started an e-commerce brand, and then I just worked as like a freelancer doing other stuff too. So the real like business started back then, but I've been in the space for a while. I knew, a little bit. You don't have to be able to sell something to a customer to start a business, but that's about all I knew. Um, One thing I knew is I started to learn where businesses were struggling. And back in, 2015, 2016, people didn't really know social media. They didn't really know social media advertising, anything like that. And I did. I learned how to do it. I learned how to do it with my own brand that I'd started. And I was like, okay, well, other brands need help with this. Why don't I be the one to help them? And it was
Super.
the funniest thing because for some of the OGs here, they probably remember like Ty Lopez's course about how to start your own social media marketing agency. I didn't know that was a thing, so I thought I had this brilliant idea that no one was doing. I'm 19 years old, 20 years old, being like, this is a brilliant thing. No one's doing this, and then someone just happened to tell me that there was this course about teaching people how to do this. It kind of broke my heart a little bit, but it was pretty funny. So fast forward, man. 2017 was really big on Facebook, focusing on that, and we built this system where it was basically the thought process was you advertise, but you got to send them somewhere. So you can create an ad you can create the best ad in the world. You can use the best content, the best video, the best photos, whatnot. You send them to a page on your website that's not very good, you're gonna lose. You're gonna miss the sale, and it's not gonna convert. And so we started focusing heavily on that post click destination because we started seeing ads that weren't the best ads. Like, they weren't the ones where like, this is a good ad. This one's cool. This is
Sure.
awesome. But people were
Yeah.
clicking on it just as much as the high production value stuff. And they were going to a page that converted really well. And so we started building this process where you can control the system, you can control the whole process, and you can bring money to the bottom line. And that's really what we cared about. So fast forward to about 2020, we actually stopped advertising. We stopped everything. We stopped everything except our number one core service that we were really good at, and that was design and dev. And we went really hard on that. We've built our team around design and dev on Shopify. That's really all we do now. At this point, trying to think, we actually just crossed our 250th brand we've worked with, which is pretty exciting for us. So
250th brand.
250th, yeah, we've done a lot of stuff.
Insane. Wow. I've never met somebody like an agency focus who's done 250 development of Shopify stores. Nicholas,
Yep.
you take a cake. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff, and it's cool. We've been, we've been on a lot of different sides of the business, and because of that, we've really transitioned away from just like we're the people that dev your store to now we are building the strategy that's going to help scale your store. Right, your store is your foundation, but what else do you need on top of that to actually grow your business? Do you need
Sure.
advertising? Do you need influencers? Do you need email? Where do these puzzle pieces go? How do they fit together? And what do you need to do to actually fit them together? And that's really how we think. We think of this holistic view. Like, the best brands in the world are good at everything. And so our goal is to help the best brands in the world be better at everything. If everything can be more efficient, work together, have more synchronization, have more congruency, that's where you win. And that's how we think. That's our big thing at 253.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. That gives everybody a very good perspective of where you're coming from, why this, why now, and I've heard a lot of stories the other way around is people having an agency and then they started a brand and yours is like a flip from that perspective. So you did have a brand. I mean, I'm sure you had a lot of learning from that perspective, and then tried to say that, how can I help other brands kind of go and do this best. So you come from a very very fresh angle, I believe. And the testament of 250 stores kind of speaks volumes on that.
Yeah, we've definitely done a lot. One thing I think is also pretty unique. Like I talk to a lot of developers. I talk like all my
So
friends are marketers. They're all developers. They're all agency people or brand people. And honestly, I think that we have a very different perspective, especially because I meet a lot of people who go from the development side to the advertising side. They're on, the Shopify building side and they go over to the marketing side. Marketing is
yeah,
cool, right?
yeah,
It's cool to
yeah,
say I spent $1 million on ads and made three. Like that's cool. But for us going the opposite side of things, we can see how that money is actually being spent
yeah,
efficiently and how that needs to work with your store. And
yeah,
like the biggest thing for us that we think about is that congruency. And so we think like marketers, like we're not, I mean, I'm a marketer at the end of the day, right? I think about business growth and
yeah.
the website, your Shopify store, that's just a tool to grow. That's just a
Yeah,
tool.
and you're the ones who are basically trying to say that, you know what, if you spend 1 million, bring the guy to your store. That's not returns of returns. I'm the ones who's actually figuring it out. Do they buy? Do I get the ROI, the ROAS and CACs and all the crazy things of e-commerce world? Very, very, very nice. I'm going to repeat myself, but this is very refreshing for me because I do this quite a lot. Speak to a lot of guys from the other side of the world, and especially the way the whole internet is so skewed. Right? It's all advertising based because, of course, it's controlled by ads. All the development, all the thought process, all the leadership is majorly around just traffic.
Mm.
And it's just so little thought and hard work that goes into saying, once the guy lands in, what do I do? How do I convert? How do I retain? How do I personalize? How do I engage, etc., etc.
Oh yeah.
We're going to dive into that a lot, Nicholas, later. But I want to ask this question: why Shopify?
That is a great question. I think the best thing about Shopify for us, like when we think about it, um, there's two sides. Number one, the day to day is pretty easy, right? There's not a lot of stuff that breaks. You don't have to worry about hosting platforms and all kinds of other stuff. It's one place, so that's a big thing in itself.
Hmm.
The other thing that we like about Shopify is you can do a lot of stuff with it, right? It's very
Hmm.
modular for a business if you know how to pull the levers to make it modular. So, for example, if you want to use a specific tool for subscriptions, we
Hmm.
can do that, right? But
Yeah.
you're not tied to one tool, right? You have this ecosystem that is, open source in a sense where you have all these different tools you can use,
Correct.
but
Hmm.
it's not necessarily the Wild West like like WordPress, for example. There
Yeah.
still is a little bit of structure here, but you have the flexibility of that compared to other platforms like Webflow, for example, which has e-commerce, but it's not built for e-commerce.
No.
Like Shopify is literally it's a toolbox that gives brand owners, marketers, developers the tools that they need in their perspective, like area of a business to be successful. And the nice thing about Shopify is you can build it around your specific needs. Like
Yeah.
to this day, we've never worked with two brands that are the same. They're always different.
Yes.
Shopify
Absolutely.
is you
Yeah.
can mold Shopify around the brand. Shopify, I mean, at the end of the day, right? Shopify is just another tool. It's just how do you use that tool for your brand?
That's really nice, and that's a very different way to look at this. Because when people ask me why Shopify, I always say that for me, I would say Shopify is the best skeleton, and then it lets you just put in a body arm or a piece the way you like it and run the whole, let the blood just go through it the way you like. But again, the way you kind of say that no two brands have the same requirements, and there's an ecosystem that lets you pick and choose the way you like, and it's very modular. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I would, like to understand this from you. Is I talk to a lot of brands, and again, some of them are those early stage, the 0 to 1 stage, or you can say the first couple of years. And then there are those guys with Shopify Plus and, advanced traffic and things like that, right? So let's take the first one, for the first part of the conversation is brands standing out now. So they choose Shopify, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's already thought of the amount of money they can spend on ads, because I think a lot of them even think about that before they think about the product, right? But when you're ready to just go and hit the button and take the store live, what would be those top three things or top five things you think brands should kind of focus on when they are looking at conversion optimization, bringing traffic and things like that on Shopify?
Great question. So, I'm gonna say my top three things here. I'm gonna say there's probably about three things that I would typically focus on. Might be more, so we might have a couple bonuses in here. But the number one thing is simplicity, right? Can I find the information that I'm looking for? I tell every single person this I ever talk to about business, about a website. The website is designed to give someone the information they need to make an educated buying decision. That's
Hmm.
it. If I have to go and search for that information, you lose. If I have to go and find it somewhere, or maybe it's not even there, you lose. A website's goal needs to be, how can I translate my information to the customer as simply, as quickly, as efficiently as possible?
I love
If
it.
that's a big block of text, no
Yeah.
one's going to read it. You
Yeah.
lost it. You have the information there, but it's not simple enough for that person to consume. So it has to
Super.
come down to simplicity. From there, we have to think about, what does the person needs to reach their goal. Where I see a lot of brands fail is they think about, someone comes to the store to buy a product because they want to buy the product. Wrong. They don't want to buy a product. No one wants to buy anything. People want a solution to their problem. Supplement brands are the worst example of this. I see so many supplement brands, they're pushing product down your throat.
Yeah.
Here, buy my protein powder, buy my creatine, buy this, buy that.
Yeah.
But what they're not saying is, you're going to change your life. We are here to help you change your life. You got to buy this product to do it,
Yeah.
but you're going to change your life. And so what these brands need to be thinking about is, what is the actual problem that you're solving? It could be something super small, right? A t-shirt brand. You don't
Yeah.
look cool. Wear our t-shirt. You'll look cool. Like
True.
it could be that easy. And like brands like Built Basics or Cuts, that's what they do. They've got a phenomenal product, but on paper, it's a black t-shirt. But they're showing you that end goal, that their product is going to help, is what's standing between you and your goal, is their product. Brands miss that all the time. The last
Super.
thing that every brand starting out needs to do, they need to make sure they have their data in place. Like, even if you're not advertising, even if you're not going, have your system in place. Get triple whale set up, get your attribution figured out, get your
Yeah.
email closed out, and like get your system done.
Yeah.
Like, I talk to brands all the time. They're like, "Yeah, we're doing 30K a month, we're doing 40K a month, but we don't do email." I'm like, "What are you talking about? How do you not do email?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't do email?" I was talking to a brand the other day. They're doing 200K a month. No joke. They do not have an attribution system set in place. And I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Why don't you do that? And so
Yeah.
whether you're brand new, just starting out, hitting the publish button, or going all the way to the top right there, and you're making good money, you need to have that foundation in place. You need to have your data, because you might not need it today, but when you want it, you want to have it, and you want it to be clean. And so the sooner you can get that stuff set up, you can get that foundation set up. When you're ready for it, you have it, and it's already there. You don't need to go get it. You don't need to wait. So I would say that's my top three things.
Gold nuggets. This is Nicola. This is really so nicely explained, and and very similar conversation I keep on having with different brands, and they're like, um, I too early to collect data? I'm like, no, you're never too early to collect data,
No
right?
way. I'm
You need to
saying.
start having a foundation. The data is going to get, you'll build over it. Yes, the insights might change because your traffic will grow, and things will but you need to have a place where that just doesn't collect data, but actually you can draw actionable insights from it, right? Which a lot of tools, it makes it really hard for them to do, right? So now I want to, now that we're getting into it really, and I'm starting to enjoy this a lot more, because I think I speak a lot of your language here. So yeah, brands beware. uh, and So tell me if you agree with this statement or you disagree. All right. So 97% of the visitors coming to your website as a brand are not ready to buy.
I'm gonna say I disagree with that
Okay. Perfect. And why do you say that?
because they wouldn't have come there if they didn't have some reason to come there. People don't just like go onto the site if they have no reason. I'm not doing it. Good example. I'm not gonna go buy a makeup product, so I'm not gonna go to the site.
Sure. Okay.
But if I'm gonna look for a T-shirt, I might go look at a couple different brands. I'm in the market for a T-shirt though,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? I might not necessarily buy it from you. I might buy it from this one though, but I am in the market. If someone is going onto a website, an e-commerce store, there's education sites, different story. But
Sure.
when
Sure.
someone is coming to an e-commerce store, they are in the market for that product. In some level, maybe they're not. Maybe they're in the research phase and they're like, "Is protein powder right for me?"
Yeah.
I'm not ready
Yeah.
to buy protein powder yet,
Fair.
but they're considering, "Is that the right thing for me?"
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Assumption.
so they're not ready to buy just yet. They might not in the future, again depending on a lot of other things. But because if I flip that statement the other way around, Nicholas, it's like 3% average conversion rate, right, globally. And this number that we all kind of like to swear by every single day hasn't changed in over a decade. With all your deep science and ML and tech and whatever, your ads have improved, your generative AIs has made the ROAS go here and there and everything. But the conversion rate still is as miserable as it is, because I, I have my own thoughts about it, but I'd like to understand this from you, that why do you think it's such a case?
Now you're speaking my language. This is one of my big problems right now in the marketing world. Here's why I think the conversion rate is not right. And it's
Hmm.
kind of what we were talking about at the very beginning of this, of having users in sync. If your message and where they're going on the like your destination is not in sync, you lose. You lost
Okay,
them.
fair.
Here's an easy way to think about it. So we have a brand we just onboarded last week. Looking
Hmm.
through their data, looking where their traffic is going, their traffic is split between their homepage and their product page.
Product page, sure.
That the conversion difference is over 50% difference
Wow.
on the product page. And the reason why is someone is interested in a specific solution with a specific product.
Yeah,
You send them to the wrong place, you're not solving their problem now.
that's it. Yeah.
They clicked on the product to solve their problem. Now you got to go.
Yeah.
Now they got to go find the solution.
No. Yeah.
That's where people are messing up, right? They're also not educating customers. So the biggest thing that we see, and like we talk with brands, I'd say 9 out of 10 brands that we talk to are not educating their customers. And so what's happening is that's not necessarily on a single page, but they don't have that system in place. They don't have
Yes.
their emails. They don't have their complete system of, I come here, I might not quite be ready to buy today, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to buy.
Yeah.
Educate me on
Absolutely.
why I can buy from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's education around the product, it's
Hmm.
education around the brand, and it's education on the fact that this product and this brand is the right option for solving my
Which is your problem. That's why you're here.
problem. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so that right there, like very few brands do that well.
Yeah.
Like that's because what happened, and the reason why is because it's not any one person's job. Like you can't do that on a website. That's not just your website. That's also
Sure.
your ads. That's
Yeah.
also your organic content. That's
Yeah.
also your email. That's also your SMS.
Yeah. It's a
All
very
of those things,
collaborative joint effort. Yeah.
they play together. And so what happens is that's really like the brands that are winning, they have that coordination. The brands that aren't winning are because they have no coordination. If there's no coordination, there's no congruency in messaging, there's no congruency in customer journey, of course you're not going to convert.
Yeah.
You
Makes
can't expect
sense.
to convert. And so
Makes sense.
that's like if
Yeah.
someone's clicking on something,
Yeah.
they care about it for some reason.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I, as soon as you start thinking from a consumer's point of view, every single second they are on your site, they have a choice not to do, something else. from that point of view. So they're giving you your time and attention for some matter, and if they don't find it worth, it's gone.
Yeah.
And friction points are so many. A lot of time, the funny thing is, like, when Nike CEO goes and sorry, when Netflix CEO goes and says that our competition is with sleep, it's like that. So for you're nicely surfing on your cell phone, lying down on the bed, and then you get an Instagram message, and you just off from your browser and on Instagram, and then it's an abandoned cart. You don't even think about it. So those kind of things can all come in. So that's why the whole value chain of going and creating that messaging, saying, hey, no, if I don't do it, it is not going to help me, that problem is so important. And again, we as a company at Kui, we do this based on intent. So we kind of understand the real time intent of visitors so that we can engage them accordingly. And this is the problem we are solving as well, because most of the solutions, in fact all the 10,000 apps available on Shopify today, everybody assumes, you know they can't understand where the visitor is in their buying journey. That's why when you go log in to a new store, you get the amazing 20% off pop up. And the guy's like, you know what? I'm coming to your store for the first time. I don't even know what you sell. Why would I give you my personal data for something, right? What's your take on that kind of a thing? The whole mechanism there.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. So I have a few different thoughts on that. Thought number one, if you're gonna ask for something, ask for a lot, right? People will give you a lot more information.
Sure.
Good example. Going back to our supplements. Supplements are a great one, and they underutilize this.
Hmm.
If you're selling me protein powder, have you ever taken protein powder before?
No.
Maybe, maybe not. How
Yeah.
often do you work out? A little or a
Yeah.
lot? I'm new. I don't know. How knowledgeable are you on fitness nutrition? Not
Yeah.
very, super not. People are going to answer that because they want, number one, they're going to want a discount, but they want that personalized experience.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
you can collect that data, which they're going to give you like more like I don't remember off the top of my head. I actually was just reading the statistic the other day, but it's like 80 something percent or something ridiculous like that will go and give you a little bit more info than just an email. Now you can market to them in a way that they want to be marketed to.
Sure.
You wouldn't talk to a seasoned veteran athlete like a beginner athlete, just like you wouldn't talk to a beginner athlete like a seasoned veteran. Now you
Yes.
can talk to them right there. So if you're going to offer a pop up right on the get go, just make sure you get more information. Like that's all I ask. But at the same time, I'm the same way. I click off on a lot of those because I don't know what they're going to sell you. I don't need 20%. I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah.
So I think that there is going to be some kind of information there. I like when brands have an exit intent pop up. I
Mhm.
actually like those. They, for me as a consumer, convert me more than other ones. So
Okay.
I very rarely sign up for email pop ups just because of exactly what you said. I don't know if I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's a big
Okay.
thing to me. I don't like when they pop up right away either. That drives me nuts. The site loads and pop up loads drives me nuts. Don't like it.
Cool. Okay. No, understood. So
But
yeah, sorry, please go ahead.
I would say, but at the same time, if I'm shopping, I want my discount code. So
Yes.
I want
Yes.
that.
Again, there has to be a balance somewhere, right? And for every brand, depending, what you're selling, what are the AOVs, what is the customer journey, it kind of really depends.
Yeah,
So, so that's pretty clear. Great. So, once you develop a site, when you're about to go live, work with this brand, etc., what would be your top five tech stacks that you usually add, on top of your Shopify stores?
yeah, I've got a few good ones. So for us, the biggest thing that we look at with the tech stack is why. Why are we using this? Is this something we can build internally, or is there more to it? You're not going to see something that's like a UI change. Like we're not going to use an app for a UI change. We're not doing. We're just going to build it. What we will use an app for is data. So data collection is a big thing. We'll use it for interactions or like payment processing. So depending on the brand, we'll use something like Recharge for subscriptions. Great example. Recharge is great. It's super versatile. That would be a big one for there. Attribution, going back to socials. in advertising, we'll use Triple Whale. We love Triple Whale. Triple Whale is fantastic. You can't beat it. It works really well. So
It is
that's one.
sure.
Um, Other big ones for us would be like Monk Commerce. So big thing with Monk, and the reason why we use Monk is it's an upsell tool, right? It wants to increase your AOV. AOV is good. That's a metric we always look at that we want to have up on the top. But where Monk wins compared to other people is you get data around which upsells are actually working, how many people are using them, and you can make them dynamic. So you can really get a lot of data around what product combinations people are buying and how much
Sure.
extra revenue that is driving to your store. I
Nice.
like that. That's good data. Other big ones I would say for us would be Just Uno. That's another cool one. So Just Uno is a tool for data capture on those pop-ups we were talking about, so you can start
Mhm.
segmenting your list. That would be another big one. Um, Upcart. I would say Upcart would probably be our next big one. That would probably be the last one that we really like. I'm going to throw in one more too. Fairing.
Sure.
Fairing is another cool one.
Okay.
So I want as much data as I possibly can. Upcart, I didn't really talk on that, but that's just the better cart. They've got some pretty cool features for a good cart experience. Really like it. It's super seamless and it works very well with other apps also. So if you
Sure.
have like subscriptions or stuff like that, it works super cool. Um, Fairing now is going to give you post purchase data around customer experience. You can ask them anything you want. You can build these post purchase surveys right
Nice.
in the store. It's not an email you're going to get later, it's just right there. What's really cool about it though is they don't need to complete the survey to get the data. So other
Yeah.
apps, you'll have to submit it. You'll have to answer all
Sure.
5 questions, submit it, or nothing. With
Yeah.
Fairing, they answer one, you get the data. If you answer
Okay.
four, you get the data. So it also integrates back into some of the other platforms like Triple Whale, so you can see
Sure.
that how it all flows together. Now you're creating an ecosystem for growth, right? You're
Yes.
getting something that everything talks to each other,
Yeah.
and that you basically have a seamless system.
Yeah. Getting the data in, trying to put them in a funnel, and then generate proper insights, which is solved for attribution because of triple whale. So,
Exactly.
so let me ask a controversial one, which is quite the buzz in the industry at the moment. So, Klaviyo or SendLane?
What was that?
Klaviyo or SendLane?
Oh man, honestly, I don't care, quite frankly.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not on that side, right? So for me, I don't really care. At the end of the
Sure.
day, it's a tool. It is 100% a tool. If you know how to use Klaviyo and you don't know how to use SendLane, use Klaviyo. If you know how to
Okay.
use SendLane and you don't know how to use Klaviyo, use SendLane.
Okay. Okay.
At the end of
Super.
the day, it's a tool.
Okay. Perfect. Great. And what's the best tool for conversion optimization from an overall perspective that you
I don't
recommend?
I don't think there is any one tool. I think
Okay.
there's a bunch. Heat mapping is going to be huge. I really
Sure.
want to know how people are using it. So tools like Hotjar, Crazy Egg, heatmapping.com is another big one.
Yeah.
Heatmap.com. One of the two. I think it's called heatmap.com.
Okay. I haven't
Um,
heard the name. Okay.
it's new. It's really cool though. It
Hmm.
is. That's going to be the next big one for sure. I would say those three tools work incredibly well. You can get some really good insights in there. Fairing would be another really good one for CRO. And honestly, like from a real CRO perspective, none of these little hacks are going to make the big difference.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
best thing that you can do for your conversion rate goes back to what I said earlier of having that congruency in messaging and customer journey.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
person is going to convert. They don't care if you have this thing that says buy two and get a discount. Like that's not
Yeah.
going to convert them. That might convert a little bit.
Has to be around. Yeah. Cross. Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
having that process from ad to purchase with your email bringing them back, that is what is going to get that conversion
Yeah.
rate high.
The 360 degree. Yeah. Perfect.
Exactly. If you can have that system in place,
Yeah.
that's going to be the bulk of your conversion rate optimization. Yeah, sure. Once you're doing big numbers, 0.5% here, tiny bit of percentage change here. Okay, that's significant. Most brands do not need that. Like changing a
Yeah.
button color, that's not going to do anything,
Agreed. Agreed.
right?
Perfect.
It's the full system that is your conversion rate optimization. Make sure they're getting the information they need. We can look at some heat maps, look at some scroll maps, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's probably a big tool. We see a lot of people who aren't even getting the information because they're not scrolling. If they're not
Yeah.
scrolling, big problem. fix that. But as long as they're getting the information, you just need to take them to the right process. You can do that.
Perfect.
You win.
This is really cool. Thank you, Nicholas. I think that's great. I can go on and on, but with in the interest of time, I know this is it. So let me ask my last question, which is a tricky one. So you have to tell us something that you've never told anybody before. It has to be a funny story, something really cool, just for the guys out in the community.
Oh man, that's tough. But it's stuff I don't talk about a lot. I'll tell you that.
Okay,
It's
sure.
one thing we really built 253 on is transparency.
Uh-huh.
We spill all the secrets. Like I'll have someone call me and be like, "Hey, how do I do this?" I'm like, "Oh, just do this." They're like,
Okay,
"You're not gonna charge for that?" I'm like,
that's
"No,
super. Yeah.
just do it."
Okay.
Man, I'm trying to think about stuff that I've never told. I don't know. That's a tough one. I feel like
So,
I spilled the beans on all the podcasts, man.
yeah, but I think what you said, I think is a very very rare, quality. I would say that we don't kind of get to hear a lot about. If people can reach out to you and you can just go and tell them about this and then all that, and that's a huge benefit that you're anyways passing on. So
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from.
One thing I'll throw out on there that is kind of like a thought process that I have. Um, Business is a big world, right?
Yeah,
There are a lot of e-commerce brands. There are a lot more brands out there, a lot more businesses than there are agencies.
yeah,
There are a lot more businesses out there than there are tools that agencies use.
yeah,
There's enough for everybody.
yeah.
I actually did the math. I'm gonna make another LinkedIn post about this. So follow me on LinkedIn. Look for it up. But I
I
made a
will.
post a year ago about this,
Uh-huh.
and it's like 20 to 1 or something ridiculous. Like there's like 20 businesses in just in the U.S. There's like
Yeah.
20 businesses for every agency, every single one. That means
Wow.
every single agency could have 20 businesses for clients. That's insane. And
That is
so
insane.
why wouldn't I share my secrets? There's enough to go around.
Absolutely.
Like
I
there's
firmly believe in, yeah, together we are stronger kind of a thing, right? It's not like pulling anybody down, but it's all together, and then you can also do much better things. So yeah,
it
perfect.
all comes back to us all.
Yeah,
Honestly, like we've been in business for a while, a lot longer than some other agencies, but not as long as other agencies.
yeah,
Our whole thing is longevity, and if you don't want to work with me, great, go work with somebody else.
yeah,
I'm here to share my value, share our knowledge from our team. Um, and I honestly think that someone could go and rip it off. Like,
yeah,
sure, you totally could, and I know people do.
yeah,
I've talked to people who are like, I've built this. I built landing pages based on what I saw in a video or on a podcast or on your site on one of your resources. I'm like, that's awesome. That's super cool. I didn't get paid for that, and
yeah.
that's okay because you know what? At the end of the day, why are we in business? Right? We are
Yeah.
in business to
Help
help
people.
people
Yeah,
grow.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is it. And so
yeah.
at the end of the day, we're just furthering our mission. That's it.
That's a very noble thought, Nicholas, and thank you so much for your time. I've got a lot of things that I can take back, and I'm sure the community as well. And especially your expertise of doing the whole conversion side of the website, when bringing the traffic in, and how what you do and how can you just go about doing it was, I think, really really useful today. So thank you again. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate it, and hope to bring you back on this podcast sometime soon again.
Yeah, definitely. I'm already looking forward to round two. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Thank